Everybody say Easter! Hey there, or shall I say, hello everybody. This bunny here is Thomas. Welcome to the Totally Filet Crochet channel. And as you can probably tell, this tutorial is all about my granny square doilies, this time in the Easter edition. Those of you who know me for a while know that I absolutely love my Filet Crochet granny square doilies, and I already announced to make it a thing. So after Halloween and Christmas and Valentine's Day, here we go with our next seasonal doilies, and this time it's Easter. I have no idea if you celebrate Easter or not. I just do Easter for the chocolates. But this year also, of course, for the granny square doilies. I know the granny square doilies look complicated, but they are super easy. When you're able to make a granny square, you can definitely make such a beautiful filet crochet granny square doily. They're super easy. It's just working in the rounds. It's 20 rounds, and you can even make it shorter or bigger. And of course, you don't have to use it as a granny square doily. You can also use it as a bag, or I don't know, a cute vest. This is up to you. Use the pattern wherever you want to use them, but just keep them because they're free. And in good old Totally Fierce tradition, you will of course get a free PDF in the description where you will find the 4 patterns for my Easter granny square doilies. Here's the first one, hopping around. Then we have the second pattern, every bunny smile, that I have right here with the yellow. Again, it's a little bit difficult to see, maybe with me in front. You have 4 bunnies and a lot of tulips all around, and I think it looks just beautiful on the table. And I also love the yellow because that's very Easter. And the third pattern, excellence. Of course, a lot of Easter eggs all around the granny square. And the final one, probably the only one that's not only suitable for Easter but for spring and summer or all year, which I called flower power. And it gets especially beautiful when you put multiple squares together. But that's not all. I will not only show you how to make the Filet Crochet granny square doily, you will also learn how to connect multiple doilies into one bigger doily. Here's the flower power pattern with 4 spring colors. I think it looks just absolutely amazing. All those flowers in the different colors. So this you will learn in this tutorial as well. But again, that's not all, because I will also show you how you can make multicolored granny square doilies. Here's the excellence, and I think it just looks absolutely excellent. And you will see that it is super easy to change the color in the round to create such a beautiful multicolored granny square doily. And the Easter surprises are still coming, because I will not only show you how to make my typical granny square doily border, I will also show you a fun different option with the crab stitch, which you can see here. So this tutorial is packed to the max, so everybody ready to start with this beautiful granny square doily. Let's go! So here we go. First up, make sure to download the PDF in the description. In the PDF, you will find all the 4 patterns. And as you can see, you always get one side like this with 1/4 of the granny square doily. You will also see in the lower part how the granny square will look like in the end when having all sides complete. And you will also get some written instructions, some yarn recommendation, hook sizes, and how to crochet the granny square doily. And the next page is always the quarter a bit sized up so you can see it better. So if you want to print it out, make sure to print out always the second page of each pattern, so it's a little bit bigger. Of course, you can just also screenshot it and have it on your phone. Usually I only have it on my phone, and usually I also only use this graph right here. So because I already know what to do with the full square and the blank square. So if this isn't new for you and you know how to do the granny square doily, you do just as you wish. And to start this tutorial, I'm going to make the Every Bunny Smile granny square doily with the bunny and the tulips, and I think it looks super cute as a whole. And of course I will just take this somewhere here so you can follow along with me in the pattern. The yarn that I'm going to use is, of course, a cotton yarn, and I highly recommend you to use cotton because it's the most durable and it's easy to wash, especially when you have it as a doily on a table. Sometimes things get spilled over it or it gets dirty or messy. Then it's just best to have it in a cotton. I'm using from Hobby the Rainbow Cotton 8.6 quality. You can, of course, use 8.8, which is more DK weight, or even the smaller version, the 8.4 quality. Here they say you would need a 4.5 millimeter crochet hook, which I think is a little bit too much. That's why I'm using a 3.5 millimeter. Probably can't see it. Maybe you can. Then, of course, you need some scissors, and for the end, the yarn needle to sew in the yarn ends. And that's already all. In the end, I'm going to also block the granny square doily. You don't have to block it, but it definitely makes sense because with the blocking, then the pattern will come out even more and you get like a bigger symmetry, especially for something like a square. And for this size, because we are doing 20 rounds, it's definitely recommended to block your work, but you don't have to. You can also just stretch it out and flat iron it or whatever to keep it as flat as possible. So I just changed my mind. I'm going to take this right here. I will not show you the whole 20 rounds. I will show you just quickly the beginning. I have previous videos with granny square doilies where I show a little bit more, but since I want to show you a few more different options within this tutorial, I will just show you a few of them and then in the end show you how to make the border and finish it off. So let's start. I'm grabbing my yellow yarn, and the beginning is almost the same like I do my granny squares. We start with a magic ring, and here's how I do it. I usually do as if I would do a slip knot like this, and I'm not closing it. I put my finger right in here. Then I take my end yarn and just push it through that hole. And then I just drag on my slip knot loop, place my hook in there, close it, and here you go, the magic ring. And now we start as if we have a regular granny square. So the first round is always with our typical granny square clusters of 3 double crochets. And of course, the first one is a fake double crochet because we start in the lower part and we want to go up. So again, no chain free. we do the fake double crochet or stacked single crochet instead, and for that we go in the ring, grab the yarn, pull it through, 2 loops on your hook, yarn over and pull through 2 loops as if we would do a single crochet, and then we go into the front bar, yarn over, pull it through, 2 loops again, yarn over and pull through the 2 loops, and here we go, our first or the only fake double crochet that stands for our first regular double crochet. Now we do 2 more double crochets, so yarn over, go in the ring, grab the yarn, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, yarn over and pull through 2, and 1 more, yarn over, go in the ring, pull the yarn through, 3 loops on your hook, yarn over, pull through 2, and yarn over and pull through 2. Now we are already at the corner, and for the corners, it's a little bit different than the regular granny square where we have a chain 2. Here we actually have a chain 3 because we need a bit of a wider border to place all the future stitches in. So we make a chain 3. And then we make our next cluster of 3 double crochets. Then comes our next corner, so chain 3. Then our next cluster, 3 double crochets, all in the magic ring. Then our next corner, chain 3. And now comes our final cluster, so 3 double crochets. And now we can close the ring. I don't close it completely, but you can already see how easy it is to create a beautiful square. And to close the round, and this goes for all the following rounds except for the very last round, it's always the same. We chain 1, and then we make a half double crochet in the top of our first stitch, and in the case for the first round, this was our fake double crochet. So yarn over, go in the top of the first stitch under both of the loops, yarn over, pull through, yarn over and pull through all 3 loops on your hook, and like that you will always stay in the middle of the corner to start your round, which means you won't have any seams visible, and a super balanced symmetrical granny square doily. And this was already round number 1. Rounds 2, 3, and 4 are all blank rounds, so you always have to think about this as a pixel grid. So we are going to create blank squares around for 4 rounds in total. And to do that, when we have a round that starts with a blank square, we always chain 4, and the first 3 stand for a regular double crochet, and the 4th one is already the space in between. So we have our chain 4. Then we can start our first double crochet in the top of our fake double crochet from the previous round. Then, since this is a full round of blank squares, we chain 1 and make the next double crochet in the last double crochet from our previous cluster. And if you make the double crochets for the filet crochet, make sure to not only go through the top 2 loops, but also try to grab this loop in between. So usually I take this, here you can see it, this on the back with me, so I always have it under 3 loops, and this will help to keep not only the stitches straight on top of each other, but also be a little bit more stiff and create a stronger connection. So now we created 2 blank squares. Let's create the third one for the side. So we chain 1, and then we go in the middle chain element from our border. This is why it was important to make a chain 3 in the corner, and we go underneath both of those loops. They can be tricky, but I'm sure you will get it. So you just have this back loop then left and pull it through. So now we have basically our 3 blank squares right here, and that means we already are at our next corner. So we chain 3 again, and our first double crochet is going to be placed into the same space where we were in the middle corner chain, like that. Then we chain 1, and then again in the first double crochet, and try to get the third loop. If you miss it, sometimes it's absolutely fine. I just think that it gives it a little bit more structure. Chain 1 again, go into the next double crochet, chain 1, we need 1 more, and we're at the corner, so we go in the middle chain element to make our double crochet. And here now in the top of our previous cluster we have our 3 squares, and those here on the sides are our corners. Then we chain 3 because we are at the next corner, and we just make our next double crochet, chain 1, go in the top of the first double crochet of the next cluster, chain 1, double crochet, chain 1, and in the corner chain 3, and then again along the sides. So each round we are going to increase 1 square in the left and 1 square in the right. And of course you can always check out where you are. Here we are already at the end, so our last double crochet, place it right here, and then we can close the round again, chain 1, and now we go in the top of our third chain element. So this is right here. Usually this is a bit tough to grab, so what I do is I usually take the front loop first and then just push the back loop over it, so I just have this one back bump left, and yarn over and pull through with a half double crochet. And now if you want to, we can also close the magic ring just to have it a little bit more closed, and as you can see you get like this grid of pixels that will in the end create our granny square doily. I will now make the rounds 3 and 4 quickly, and then show you how to make the round number 5 and how to create the pattern. And then I will also show you how to start a round with a full square, which works a little bit different. But first let me finish rounds 3 and 4. And the beginning is the same. We chain 4 since we start with a blank, and then go in the top of our stitch right here and make a double crochet, and from there we continue all along for 2 rounds, and I'll meet you when I'm at round number 5. So by now you should definitely be familiar with making blank squares, and you get like this meshy fabric with all the different pixels. And this was round number 4, so now I continue with round number 5, and here we also have our first full squares after the one in the after the one where we started. And the first one is a blank square, so again we chain 4 and then make our first double crochet in the top of our last double crochet right here, and then we have our first full square or 2 full squares, and for that we don't chain 1, we do our next double crochet right in this previous chain element, and we try to go under both of the loops. And again, if it doesn't work, just take the first one and then push the back loop over it to make your next double crochet, and then yarn over, go into the next top of the previous double crochet, and now we have our 3 double crochets as a regular cluster. And since we have the next one again as a double crochet, we just continue by going into the next stitch, double crochet, and one more double crochet, and like this we can then create our pattern. The rest of the round is blank squares. I will quickly go around to show you once more how to make the full squares, and then I let you to it. So I just made the corner, then the first one again is a blank square, and then we have 2 full squares, so we go into the next stitch without chaining, and here we go, the next full cluster, and we just add another one. To do this. And this is already it. Like this you continue. So in the next round you have 2 full squares on top right here. So you just go through the stitches, and I will be back shortly at round number 14 to show you how to start the round with a full square. And have fun. Happy crocheting. So now I'm at round number 14. I just finished round number 13, and here's how it looks. You can already see the head of the bunnies, and now I will show you how to start the round with a full square. And for all the blank squares we started with a chain 4, and all the full squares start with a chain 3. So we chain 3, 1, 2, 3, and then we make our first double crochet under these 2 loops here on the side, which came from closing the round with the half double crochet. And in here we are going to place our first double crochet, and the third one of course is in the top of the previous stitch. And like that we started the round with a full square, and from there we can continue along the pattern. In this case it's 3 blank squares, 1, 2, and 3. Then we have 1 full, 1 blank, 1 full. And so on. And in the end, if we then end the round, we just finish it in the 3rd chain element, just like we had it before. And from there, I think it's just 3 rounds that start with a full square, and after that it's the blank squares again. So I'll meet you once I'm done with round number 20 to show you how to make the border. So here we are after round number 20. You can see the full pattern. I think it looks so pretty with the bunnies, the 4 bunnies all around, and the tulips to the left and to the right. I think it turned out just as I imagined, and now the only thing left would be to add the border, and we do the border the same way like I have showed it in the past, because I think it's just the easiest and very pretty border. And for that, here was our last stitch to close round number 20, and then we go into the next stitch under both of those loops here on the side, and we are going to start with a slip stitch. And then we chain 1 and make a double crochet on top of the previous double crochet. And from there we go down again to our chain element right here to make a slip stitch again, then chain 1 and a double crochet. So we are always going to place double crochets on top of double crochets, and after the double crochet we always go into the next stitch and slip stitch, then again chain 1 after the slip stitch, and here's our next double crochet, and this creates this sort of a wavy little border all around. Of course, you can do whatever border you would like to do for your granny square doily. This is absolutely optional, but I think it definitely makes sense to add a border to refine it, to give it more of a finished and neat look and feel. And you basically do this all the way around until we are back at the start here. Usually the last stitch here at the center of our corner would be another double crochet, but I will show you how to finish it off once I'm there. So see you. And here we are. The last stitch that we have to do is to make a slip stitch in our first slip stitch, and then yarn over, pull it through, and cut the yarn, pull the yarn through, and then we go to the back of our work, grab the yarn needle, and then we are simply sewing in the yarn end. And now the doily is done. The only thing left, I mean, I told you already, it's optional, but I definitely recommend it, would be to block it so you have it completely flat and completely symmetrical. And I just saw there's also the yarn end from our magic circle. So of course, just sew that in a few stitches. If you have made it the same way like I did it, then usually it should hold and you could just cut it. But just to be 100% safe. But now it's definitely time to block it, and then your beautiful Easter doily is done. So up next I will show you how to connect granny square doilies. I made, this is a bit hard to see, I made 4 of the Flower Power granny square doilies. This is granny square number 4 of my PDF. This is the full visual, and I had the idea of connecting 4 of them together. And in addition, I also chose 4 different spring colors, so yellow, green, blue, and pink, and I will connect them with white. And of course, I wanted to show you how to connect those granny squares. And first I will decide the order how to do that. Probably like this. This looks fun, and we can start. First we are going to start by connecting always one side and then go over to the next 2 squares and then connect the second middle part before then making a little border around it. And this is also the exact same method that I always use to connect my granny squares, because I think it's the neatest and cleanest and easiest way to do it, actually. And for that you take the yarn and start with a regular slip knot, put it on your hook, and now we are going to take 1 stitch from each square, or 1 back loop from each square, and we want to make sure that our working yarn is right in the middle. So we start, of course, in the corner. So we pick the back loop from our middle chain from the corner, from our first granny square. Then we pick the next granny square, and here again pick the middle back loop. Now we have both of them on the hook, and then we take our working yarn and we just make a slip stitch. So first we go through the first back loop and then through the next back loop and then just slip stitch. Then we go into the next back loop, first from the granny square in front, then from the granny square in the top, yarn over and pull it through. Then again the next, and you can easily also see where you are. So whenever you have the granny squares on top of each other, you know that you are correct. And in the next, and we do this all along until we then connect the next granny squares. And as you can see, it creates a super neat and clean connection of the 2 squares. And here I am at the end of our first 2 connected squares, and I only have my middle one left, like this. And now I can basically continue with the other squares, and I do it the exact same way. So first I find out where the middle stitch is. It's right here, and then the same for this one. And I will now just connect the next 2 and continue all along. And when you reach the end, you basically make a slip stitch, cut the yarn and pull it through, because later on we are going to go along the border. And now we have basically all 4 squares connected. So now we can work on the other horizontal line, and this one here works exactly the same like we had it, so I won't show it again. You just connect first the 2 squares, then we go over in the center and then connect the second squares until we're at the end, and then we can start with the border. So now I have all my 4 squares connected, and we can start with the outer border. And for the outer border, we are going to make crab stitches all along. So SCRAB, not the other one. And it's a stitch that I learned from my friend Heather from Strings and Threads, and she used it for her creamy cookies. And I thought this would be quite a nice border for my granny square doilies as well. And this goes as follows. We are going to work backwards, so in the opposite direction where we would normally work in. And for that, we take our hook and place it in the first back loop. We wrap the yarn around so that we have 2 loops now on our hook left. Yarn over and pull through 2. I'll show it again. We go backwards in the next back loop, wrap the yarn around, pull the loop through, 2 loops on the hook, yarn over, and pull through both of them. Again, we go backwards, yarn over, pull it through, 2 loops on the hook, and basically single crochet. So these are like reverse single crochets basically, and I know it will take a little bit of time to get used to it, but I know you can do it. And sometimes with the cotton yarn it gets a little bit difficult to grab the loop. And what I think also helps is that you just twist your work a little bit around and then grab the next back loop, yarn under. I think it works also when you yarn over, but then you have to do 2 loops to get it. So I make the yarn under, pull the loop through, 2 loops now on your hook, and single crochet again in the next back loop or in the previous back loop, yarn under, pull it through, and again And this creates this super pretty wavy border. I have no idea why it's called a crab stitch, but it works and it looks fun. And we basically do this all the way around, so it's a good practice to get to know this super fun stitch that you can of course use for so many other projects. And once you have made a few of them, you will see that you can make this border super fast. And I'll meet you at the end to show you how to finish it. And then I will of course block it. So see you in a little bit. So this was it. I'm around with my border. We can now cut the yarn. And simply yarn over and slip stitch, close it. Because now the only thing left is to incorporate the yarn ends, and this goes quite easy because we just let the yarn end go along our border. And cut off. And this we do on all sides. There's only the 2 or even 3 on each of the side. There's 1 yarn end left. So you incorporate it on all the sides, and then I'm going to take this to blocking, and then the granny square doily with 4 colors and 4 individual doilies is done. So now I will show you how to change the color for the granny square doily if you want to have different colors for different rounds. I decided to make the Excellence doily with the Easter eggs and thought it would be a fun idea to have changing colors. I will go down in the number of rounds. So the first color was all white and I made it for 6 rounds, and then I changed to this off-white or egg white color that I still had for the next 5 rounds. So now I'm at the end of round number 11, and now I will change the color to this yellowish pastel. I don't know, it's even like something like a coral or something like this. It's hard to describe, a bit peachy, but I still had it from a multi-pack, so I'm going to change into this color now. But of course, feel free to change the color for whatever rounds you like. I think it just gives it a little bit more of a fun touch with different colors. And to change the color for the last round, instead of like closing it with a chain 1 and then a half double crochet, I just chain 3. And now I'm going to cut the yarn, because before adding the next color, I'm going to make an invisible finish, just as if our square would be done. And after the 3rd chain element, I just pull the yarn through. Now I pick my yarn needle, and then I'm not going into the first chain element here where we would normally connect the round or finish the round. I will go to the one right after that, and I will go from the front and pull the yarn through, and I will lay my chain right on top. So I'm going to create like a 4th chain element that sits right on top of our chain 3 from the previous round. and then I will go from the top. Now I lost, as always, the yarn, and now I will go in the top of this last chain element, pull the yarn through, hopefully not losing it like I did it here. And now I'm just going to like drag on it until I have the size of my chains right here. And now I'm going to re-grab it because of course I lost it. And then I will turn to the back and I will just go back into that chain element. And don't drag on the yarn too much because otherwise you would lose all those stitches. And then I will go down until I connect to the main part, and then I will just take the yarn somewhere in here and once I have that I will just cut it. So basically it's like a full finish of, as if this would be a finish of the square. And then I'm going to take my next color that I want to add, and I will just start with a slip knot, put it on my hook, and then I will make a freestanding double crochet, and I will connect it into our middle chain element just as if I would start a new round of the granny square. And to do a freestanding double crochet, you have the hook, you yarn over, make sure to hold both of those loops, and then I go into this middle chain element where we usually would start underneath both of the loops. Make sure to keep everything a bit tighter together, yarn over, pull the yarn through. Now we have the 3 loops, still hold it with your finger, yarn over and pull through 2. And now what I do is I take my yarn end, place it over my work, yarn over and pull through 2 loops, and now I made my freestanding half double crochet. Now I will take this again and pull it over my work, because now we are going to make a chain. And then I leave this yarn end, because once this round is done, I will then just weave in that yarn end. Or you can also weave it in once you're at a certain point of your granny square. And let's just continue a few more rounds. Here's my next design cluster. So what we could do, because in the pattern it says here are like 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 squares after each other. So we can take this, and if you want to clean up those yarn ends on the go, which I usually also do, because then I don't have to bother about them anymore, I will just weave it along my stitches here, always from the front and to the back. And now we're up here. I will just take it through. To bring it down, like right here. Then you can release it. And then we can basically crochet over it. So after that, we can then just cut it, and you don't have to worry about any yarn ends anymore. And from there we continue with our regular pattern. And if you want to, you can then just take the yarn end and take it back a few stitches along if you want to. And then just cut it, because like that it is worked in. And then continue, and you have the color change completed. And you can do this for basically every round that you have to make your granny square doily a little bit more special. So as you can see, this bunny over here was very busy creating all these beautiful patterns, and I hope you love them. So thank you so much for watching. I hope you will make a lot of granny square doilies, and there will be more, since this is probably the last season to have until we start again with Halloween. I might be doing some granny square doilies with some more simple, easy patterns that you can use for all year, because I absolutely love them. And of course, be sure to check out all my other Easter tutorials, the little creamy Easter eggs, the baby granny square chicken, the regular granny square chicken, and the plushy Easter eggs from last year. Have fun. Easter is supposed to be fun. And of course, I hope to see you back again only at the Totally Fierce Crochet channel. And until then, happy crocheting, happy Easter, everybody.